there are two type of DCPR. One is Development Control and Promotion Regulation 2034. Another is a unified DCPR 2021. In the year 2021 it has been published. So Manoj ji, direct to you, Daisaria ji, ki what is this difference? How many DCPR are there in Maharashtra? Is it that earlier we were thinking that DCPR, what is this DCPR, what is, how it is functioning, how the redevelopment is happening? So can you just enlighten us? We have heard about Income Tax Act, we have heard about GST Act, but DCPR is something new. If you can give some enlightenment as to how the redevelopment happens through the DCPR.
Yeah, good evening.
This is immediately past president of PEATA and practicing architect for how many years? Last 35 years?
40 years.
40 years.
So DCPR is primarily for Mumbai city, which covers island city and suburbs and extended suburbs. UDCPR is a unified DCPR for entire Maharashtra. So that is excellent. Government has done. There is one regulation. Can you imagine one regulation governing the entire Maharashtra? So it was a really game changer. Of course, Mumbai is left out. Mumbai has its own problems because there is a history of last 125 years. So, I mean, Mumbai could not have been brought under the same purview. So, as we are talking, the subject is redevelopment. So, redevelopment primarily is happening in Mumbai as such because buildings have become old. They have lived their life. Normal life of a building is considered as 60 years. It has lived for 100 years because there were stone buildings. RCC buildings, I don't think it is going to cross even 50 years also.
Correct.
Because it requires a lot of maintenance. We are near the sea. There is a lot of corrosion in the RCC work. So that's why redevelopment, obviously people needs are changing. So that also, by choice also people are going for redevelopment. So it is not only the compulsion where buildings are getting deteriorated. Government has given excellent provisions in 2018. Huge FSI is there. Now the problem is how to fit in that FSI within the given circumstances. Because there are plots of 300 square meters, there are plots of 3 lakh square meters. So all this variance is there. And now because of the cluster development, earlier suburbs had already used 1+1, that is 1 basic FSI and 1 TDR. So there was no future for them. But because cluster has brought in 6,000 meter, once you cross, you get 4 FSI plus the fungible. So it comes to about 5.4. So 2 FSI, whatever is consumed, that also members get the rehabilitation, and developer also there is a cross subsidy, so he can develop. So there are different sections for redevelopment. But I'll just run through.
Certainly that is required.
Yeah. So first is 33.5. 33.5 is basically for MHADA's redevelopment, where the landowner is MHADA and the lands are being leased out to societies and they are coming for redevelopment. So basic FSI there it is 3. However, they give pro rata FSI because you have left some garden, internal access roads or amenities, and that is that whole land is divided whatever tenements were existing in the past, and accordingly the pro rata is given. I give an example. If it is a Tilak Nagar, it is 45 square meters. If it is Ghatkopar, it is 55 square meters. Bandra, it is more. So everywhere the pro rata FSI changes. Now pro rata FSI, if you add plus the fungible, that FSI goes to 7 or 8. And that is how the redevelopment, if you see per se, entire Mumbai, maximum development is happening in MHADA. And because on one shot you get the approval, there is no dependency. First day you get the approval. Of course, there are installments for payments and all, but there is no dependency. I don't have to buy TDR. There is no PTC. I don't have to construct for slum. No such regulations are there. One shot development and it is through. So that is MHADA. Then 33.7 is the cess structures, where it is primarily for island city, where the buildings have become more than 30 years old. Those qualify for cess development, redevelopment. So basic FSI is 3. Or in Kalbadevi area, suppose the FSI is 6, how you develop? So 50% incentive FSI is given on that. But not 6. If the tenement is say 150 square feet, minimum you are required to give 500 square feet. On 500 you will get 1.5 times the incentive. So that's why the developments are happening. But Kalba Devi has its own problem. If the plot area is too small, so that's why people go for clubbing, and then they come forward for 33-9. 33-9 is a cluster development where for Island City the minimum plot area requirement is 4,000 square meters, and for suburbs it is 6,000 square meters. Now 33-7A I missed out. 33-7A is for tenanted property. Redevelopment is there. So if you have a tenanted property where there is a landowner, to them also there is an incentive given, where in 50% of rehabilitation area, again it is free and you can club with any other TDR scheme. 33-7B is for cooperative housing society redevelopment, wherein incentive is given. Of course it is meager, it doesn't serve any purpose, but on paper yes it is there, because government had to give please the cooperative housing societies. So that's why they gave 10 square meter per member free on whatever the other eligibility is there, or 15% of the built up area whatever is existing. So that is the redevelopment for cooperative housing society. Now you go for 33-10, that is a slum redevelopment scheme, where again the FSI is 4, 50% you have to construct for rehabilitation, 50% for sale, and obviously fungible FSI is extra. Now lot of development in suburbs, because the TDR is scarce in Mumbai right now. Slum though obviously it is not there only. Reservation also is reducing, and we at our association level feel in next 5 years TDR is going to dry out. So 33-11, where there is a PTC scheme where you construct some PTC permanent transit camp area for government, and you club it with any other property, you get 4 FSI plus the fungible FSI, and that is more prevalent in western suburbs because the ready reckoner is too high. That's why the regular TDR and slum scheme and all is not working out. So 33-11 is also one of the schemes which is available for redevelopment, and one more regulation has been introduced is 33-20B, that is affordable housing, that it will come under the planning authority of MCGM. It is similar to 33-11, some few changes in premiums and all is there, but that also government is wanting to bring at par with the 33-11 criteria only. One more is, I think
12B.
12B, I think 12B is for wherever the DP roads or the road alignment is filled up with structures which are unauthorized obviously, and no adjoining owner is coming forward to rehabilitate them. So corporation has come out with a scheme saying that if these structures are rehabilitated, then we will give you an incentive FSI. So that tenement is 300 square feet and 50% incentive is given for, and that FSI index is straight away 4, not considering the road width. So I forgot the issue of the road width, because a lot of FSIs are governed by the road width criteria, and 33-12B gives you straight away 4 FSI. Of course that is restricted to that particular ward only, you can't jump from one ward to another, but there are very few roads available in Mumbai, but it's a good scheme per se, because it will improve the encroachment whatever there are there in the roads, the alignment coming up, and bottlenecks can be cleared. So these are the various schemes which are available for development as such in Mumbai. As far as UDCPR is concerned, I think that will
yeah, that's correct. So I think he has told us so many things, and I think we got confused now. The confused because you have read the entire development control promotion regulation so quickly. But Manoj Dubalji, now you tell me, is it possible for a layman like a housing society office bearers or a landowner or even to the builder to understand all this? It is not possible. So how a housing society can learn this? And that is what the Gautam Chatterjee sir rightly pointed out, there is a role of a PMC. So what is this PMC all about? Whether PMC is able to advise us, whether PMC, because as he said, for different land, different schemes are there. So we can understand MADA is different, but you said 3311, 3312B, 3320, all this. So how a P will be able to guide us whether they will be really putting it and how they do it. What is that feasibility report? We are learning about project report, feasibility report, proposed plan. Can you enlighten us the role and responsibility of PMC?
First of all, let me thank
Yeah.
for inviting us, me and Manoj. Manoj has given you a very brief.
It is
I'm
audible. Yeah.
Manoj has given you a very brief introduction about the various 33s. These are called, we call it as 33s. All additional FSIs which he spoke about is regulation 33. 33.5, if you see 33.5, 7, 7A, 7B, 10, all 33s. Now you asked me about the PMCs. The role of PMC becomes very, very important. Very important, I would say, because they are the guiding factor, guiding factor for any redevelopment. Suppose there is I am a engineer, and for tax purpose, I have to go to chartered accountant, right? So he is guiding me. So any professional is required for anything. If I have something legal issue, I have to go to the lawyer. Similarly, this becomes a technical issue. So PMC should be knowledgeable, knowing every aspects of the regulations. Number one, update, because sir, in our last 40 years of practice, we have seen frequent modification in the regulation.
That's correct.
Frequent. Sometimes it may be positive, sometimes it may be, but mostly they are positive. Mostly they are a step forward. So PMC should be updated. It's very important.
Now, can you highlight what are the qualifications of a PMC? How to identify a PMC?
Should be an architect or a civil engineer.
See, in Maharashtra, especially, it is an architect and a licensed, engineer.
Licensed engineer.
Licensed by the planning authority. Both are the people are entitled or to practice in developing a plan, putting up the plan. So therefore, they should be the technical people compulsory in the PMC. That is what you are saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, they should be.
Yeah.
Because they can study the regulation.
Correct.
They can interpret the regulations. Right?
Correct.
Interpretation is also very important. Interpreting of law is very important. They can understand, they can interpret, and then they can guide. Secondly, what he said about various regulations. Now coming to
feasibility.
That's what I'm coming to that. Coming to the redevelopment of society. Now slum, only one regulation.
That's correct.
Right?
33.5 is for slum.
No, 33.10.
Sorry. 33.10. So I am confusing. So 33.10 is for the slum. So wherever there is a slum, once it is declared, that has to be compulsory done under 33.10. Correct.
Now he said introduced about 33.5. Now that 33.5 is only for the Mahada land which are leased to the societies. So land belongs to Mahada. So if that is in that case only 33.5. Right. Now coming to 33.7, which is for cess. If the building is cess.
I think you are all aware of cess building. In South Mumbai, we have 15 to 17,000 buildings.
Yeah, cess building is only in Island City. That means from Mahim to Kolaba and from Sion to
VT or Kolaba.
Island City, that's
Island
City. And then rest of is suburb, and from Andheri, Jogeshwari, extended suburb, then from that side is extended suburb and extended suburb. So 33.7 is only for Island City, wherein tenanted cess building which are existing prior to 1969 and declared as a cess. Intention of government at that time was that identify those building, dilapidated building or old building, and repair it. Declare it as cess, get the revenue, like a tax, they get the revenue and then repair. But MADA couldn't do it because day by day the cost escalated and it was not. Then this regulation came, wherein a developer will come. There are certain criteria, minimum area, rehab, incentive, X-rehab, X-incentive, and as Sir rightly said, to subsidize the free of cost housing, incentive is there. So that is 33.7 only in Island City. As he said, now what about tenanted building in suburb? So 33.7A. But those buildings should be declared dilapidated or unsafe. Then only 33.7A comes into picture, otherwise not. Those should be dilapidated, declared dilapidated C1 category by BMC, or unsafe building. Once again, authority is BMC, they have to declare. It's not that any tenanted building can take the benefit of 33.7A. No. It's very specific. Those should be declared dilapidated by BMC. Then and only those tenanted buildings can be developed under 33(7)(a). And the most important, sir's heart, I would say.
Yeah, housing society.
is 33(7)(b). Then there are other issues. 33(9) is at cluster. Then combination of 33(11). So a PMC should know. Very important key. What type of building is this? Whether it is slum. Of course, slum mein PMC doesn't come into picture. 33, whether it is MADA, whether it is tenanted, whether it is cess, whether it is society. So identification is very important. He should know that. Then feasibility or a project report is to work out various schemes. Let's say, for example, society. 33(7)(b). Manoj rightly said incentive is hardly very less, 10 square meter or 15% of the total built up. Compared to the incentive given to other schemes. In 33(7), I think incentive is from, depending now what government in this regulation, it is not flat, 50%. In 33(7) is 50%. Otherwise, it is based on the ready reckoner. If the ready reckoner is less, you get more incentive. If the ready reckoner is more, you get less incentive. So based on ready reckoner, the incentive is granted to balance it. So let's just say that a project is in, for example, or Malabar Hill, right? Rates are very high, sale rates are very high, ready reckoner rates are, and compared to Daisar, you can't say, I am giving 50% to Malabar Hill and I am giving 50% incentive to, which was there earlier in 91 regulation. That was very good thought process of the government. So based on the ready reckoner, the incentives are granted differently, right from I think 80% to 135%. Or 130%, depending upon that, including in 33(9) also. Then even 33(10) also, it's based on that. 33(5) also. So incentives are based on the ready reckoner. So a PMC should know all these factors. He should work out the various schemes.
Correct. Alternative schemes.
Working of all the alternative schemes. So feasibility should be prepared. A, B, C, D, E, various.
Correct.
Depending upon the incentives and what are the benefits.
Correct.
In any of the scheme, and thereafter final project report has to be given.
Okay.
So as I said, knowledge of regulation and update of regulation. And there are
restrictions.
Yeah, rightly you said. CRZ comes, then the regulation is different.
Then flying tail comes again different.
So everything, CRZ is also another story.
Correct.
Another story. If the plot is in CRZ, whether it is CRZ2, whether it is it is abutting to C directly, whether it is abutting, it is on the landward side of road or authorized building.
Correct.
There are different aspects. Sir, in my opinion, I always say when I speak, in any of the forum or with in our friends or everything, in Mumbai, every plot has a different regulation.
That's correct.
Every plot.
Plot wise
I am
regulation.
developing this plot for X as per X. Next plot I will have to develop wider. You can't have a similar thing. Every plot in Mumbai will have a different.
That's correct.
You will have to use
Mumbai is a unique city.
Unique, yes. And of course, because of the situation of Mumbai, regulations are there depending upon the type of.
Okay. Just for the sake of all of your understanding, feasibility report is nothing but a computation, a statement where what is the land area, how much is the construction possible under the different development control and promotion regulation. What they are saying is 33 series. And then how much is the total built up possible, how much will be the selling rate. So the determination of the total potential and then selling rate, then the construction cost and the development cost, premiums, all this is called a project cost, and project cost is divided by the rate available in that area for a selling area. So we come to know how much area has to be sold in the market to recover that project cost with the profit of the developer. So the remaining area becomes the area available for the society. So economics of the project, a project cost, how it is viable, whether it is should be, which regulation should be used, so that the maximum potential will be available, area will be available to the existing members or the society. This is what is known as a feasibility report in nutshell. Yeah.
I would like to add to Manoj whatever statement he made. I think first and foremost comes the project report, where what is the status of the land, what reservation it is, what width of the road it is, what height it is permissible. You may talk of any 10 FSI, 8 FSI, whether in Ville Parle I will be able to consume only 2-floor civil aviation is permitted. So redevelopment is a non-starter. So these all factors we need to incorporate. If you suppose next to the railway line, there are restrictions. So these all factors, a professional whosoever is working out the FSI potential for each and every plot, that he has to consider and then propose. So suppose hypothetically your plot is clear, no restriction, nothing is there. There are 4 schemes available. So as Prabhu sir told, you have to work out all the premiums, all the construction costs, GST applicable, will come to that subject, applicable to the rehabilitation tenements, what will be the cost. See, ultimately this all money the developer is going to bear. So what will be the landed cost vis-a-vis whatever sale potential is available to that. Suppose hypothetically what we do, we run through, I am giving, we are offering 40% extra area. So what profit is left out? If profit is less, then we come down to 30%. Still less than 25%. That is how the percentage is derived. It is not a menu card, every property in Parle will have a 40% area extra. So as Manoj told, if suppose you have utilized already 1.4 FSI, you will get a lesser reward. If you have utilized less than 1 FSI, you will get a better reward. So all these factors are there which will combine. So it is a scientific calculation. It looks simple, but it is not that. Lot many factors are involved in this, and obviously architects, civil engineer, whosoever PMC is working out, he should know other laws also. When we used to start, we have started PMC in say 2008. People used to say, "Arey Baba, on rent there is income tax or not? On corpus fund there is income tax or not?" So these are all questions which, I mean, see, Bombay or rather India, all professionals should know what other regulations are also there. I may not know the exact act, but at least income tax prima facie I should know. As a chartered accountant, you also should know what is FSI. Oh bola baba FSI, तुम architect को पूछो, तो ऐसा नहीं चलता है. You should know each and everything. That's why I think we are here to share knowledge with each other. We have come here primarily to learn from something, not other.
Yeah. Please.
You see, this makes the thing of a society having an independently appointed PMC most important. Because with no offense meant to your community, when a developer comes forward and he brings forward that I'll give you 40% extra, 50% extra, whether whatever is being offered by the developer is actually feasible or not can only be seen if this independent PMC who is appointed by the society has given a feasibility report on the basis of which you will make the selection. And I'm sorry to say, because that doesn't happen, therefore a developer gives a very lucrative scheme and a greedy society feels that let's grab this, and the society work then begins and gets stalled. And therefore the need for having an independent PMC who will continue to be in the project even after the developer brings his PMC, this PMC of the society has to continue.
So I think any questions?
One more.
Yeah, go ahead.
One more, very important, as agreed what sir said. Everyone says fungible to 35% milna hi chahiye.
Bilkul. I had that question. I thought let the members ask. Go ahead. Yeah, you are right.
No, fungible is optional in regulation, except for few regulation. It's an optional. And what Manoj rightly said, we have to work out the economics. What is the cost? What is the price over there? What is the difference between the sale and the actual cost? Cost means everything, including interest cost, sir. Everything comes into the administrative cost of the developer. Every cost will come into picture. Administrative cost is also there for them. So all cost is to be accounted. And thereafter, as we say, profit sharing. So profit sharing is by way of paisa for developer, but for members, it's an area, additional area. So that this is a myth. No, it is not like that. If it is less than 1, you will get more. If it is more than 1, 1.4, 1.4, now TDR, so suppose 1 plus 1 TDR is consumed as per 91 regulation. Now 2 FSI is consumed. So what will happen? And suppose if they don't get amalgamated adjoining plot, and they are not able to get 4,000 square meter in city or 6,000 in suburb, then they are not eligible for cluster, right? So that everything needs to be, and PMC, or as I initially said, my first statement was, he should be knowledgeable and update.
Yeah.